Nights stretch like endless deserts, and each hour is another dune. I cross barefoot with a wounded soul. Your shadow flickers in the moonlight, then fades before I can whisper your name. And still, I call you with a voice that trembles like sandstorms before the dawn. The stars have grown weary of listening, yet I speak to them because you once loved the sky. I tell them stories of us, how laughter lived between our hands, how your smile carried entire worlds, how I believed that love like ours was carved into destiny itself. But destiny is a cruel sculptor. It chisels without mercy. I walk through Dubai's golden nights, and every street remembers you. The wind along Jumeirah murmurs the sweetness of your first goodbye, and the waves repeat it again and again, as if trying to remind me that even the ocean cannot keep what leaves. Your absence is not empty, it is heavy. It hangs on my shoulders like the cloak of a prince who forgot what it feels like to be simply a a man who once loved and now learns to lose. There was a time when your heartbeat followed mine, like a loyal falcon circling the high towers of my chest. Now it is gone, and all I have left are echoes of wings turned away from home. I visit the places where your laughter bloomed, the old stone archways, the quiet corners of the palace gardens, the dunes where we carved our footsteps like temporary promises. But sand does what sand does, it erases. And I am left with deserts inside me where oases once lived. People see me smile. They see the crown, the grace, the steadiness. But inside, a storm gathers every evening. Inside, I am the poet who writes with broken ink, the rider who gallops toward a horizon that keeps moving farther away. Sometimes I imagine you standing at the edge of dawn, your eyes full of the gentleness that once healed my fiercest wounds. I imagine you calling me back, telling me that separation is only a test, that love will someday return like a falcon recognizing its master. But dreams are treacherous. They offer water to lips that never drink. Your goodbye was not loud, it was the kind that kills softly. A quiet closing of a gate, a final turning of a key, a small silence that grew into an empire of emptiness. I did not understand it then. I barely understand it now. How can a heart that once bloomed for someone learn to beat without them? How can a soul that once rested in another learn to walk alone? I tell myself that grief is a companion, not an enemy, a silent rider on this long journey through the desert of what once was. It teaches me patience, strength, faith, but it never teaches me how to forget you. Even the horses know my sorrow. Their hooves soften when I pass. They lower their heads as if bowing to a king who lost his kingdom inside a single heartbeat. Sometimes at twilight, I stand upon the dunes and raise my hands to the sky. I ask God to protect you wherever you walk, whoever you love, however far you have gone from the roads that led back to me. This is the cruelty of love, that it blesses even in its breaking. Your name lives in me like a secret prayer. I whisper it into the wings of falcons, into the tides of the Gulf, into the stillness of midnight corridors. I whisper it because it hurts to speak it loudly. I whisper it because the heart remembers, even when the world forgets. The night swallows my quiet cries, and the moon hides behind clouds, ashamed of my empty hands, reaching for the warmth that no longer lives within me. Your footprints vanished from the sand, leaving only echoes that repeat endlessly in the corridors of my restless mind. Every wind whispers your name softly, yet no reply travels from your silent lips to my aching ears. I walk alone through streets that once knew our shared laughter and promises carved lightly into walls of palaces and deserts. The stars mock my longing heart, their cold light reminding me cruelly that love, like all things fragile, can dissolve into dust beneath footsteps. I search for your shadow everywhere, in the gardens, in the fountains, in the night's still and hollow breath. I fail. Even the horses turn away silently, sensing the absence that poisons the space between my chest and the world you abandoned. Memories pierce like falcon talons, sharp, unforgiving, tearing apart the fragile fabric of my soul. I whisper to the wind, hoping it carries my pleas to wherever you might be, even if your heart no longer remembers mine. The nights stretch and the silence suffocates, but still I remember every moment, every glance, every fleeting smile, as if they were my only possessions left to hold in darkness. Love is cruel, and the world does not bend to longing hearts. It leaves them exposed, raw, aching, praying for a return that never comes, yet hoping anyway, because the heart is stubborn, even when broken. I trace your name on walls, on windows, on the wet sand, yet it disappears, erased by tides and time's harsh indifference to our fragile story of